Now, we testified to you in a previous recording that this, quote, river of Daniel 12:7, end of quote, holds several meanings. And one meaning that we revealed to you was the allegorical meaning that was connected to the, quote, one measure of wheat, end of quote, of Revelation 6:6. Now we will reveal the symbolical and the literal meanings of this same river and how it is connected to the third seal and that very same one measure of wheat, as well as the three measures of barley of Revelation 6:6 that are spoken of by and seen in this vision of Daniel in chapter 12, verse 7. For thereby the literal meaning of this river is known as the regional typhonym, the typonym of Babylon that is known to be in Mesopotamia, which comes from the ancient Greek root words meso, that means middle, meso, that means middle in Greek, and Potamia, that means river in Greek, Mesopotamia. And literally it means, quote, land between rivers, end of quote. Mesopotamia, middle river of land between rivers. And in Daniel's vision, this is the very same, quote, river, end of quote, and, quote, land, end of quote, where the man clothed in linen was standing that Daniel described, that relates to, quote, water, end of quote, on both sides of the river, which constitutes one side of the water of the river when Judah went into captivity in Babylon over 3,000 years ago, even as they were in servitude. This was the very first time when Yahweh came to them in Mesopotamia. Massa, middle, Potamia, river. That just so happens to be spelled with the three letters, Mesopotamia. You look very closely at the three last letters of that spelling, the M-I-A, which appears at the end of that word, which was a city. At the end of that city, Mesopotamia was a city, which was also the first time he came unto me, M-I, me. And your mind is so much into a deep sleep, that is according to according to Isaiah chapter 29, verses 10 through 13, until you rely on the precept of men that is leading your sleeping mind right now to think that I'm talking of the personal pronoun me. Me as in your host. When in fact, the quote me, and the quote, as you know it in your sleeping state of consciousness, was created from the Hebraic word, reference Strong's H4325, spelled from right to left, Mem, Yud, Memsophi. Pronounced Mar, as spelled in English as M-A-Y or I-M. My. The M is not pronounced. The final M of the Memsophi is not pronounced. It's pronounced my. And this Hebrew word means, quote, water, end of quote. And if we remove the final M or Memsophi of Hebraic from the English spelling of this very same word, spelled M-A-Y-I-M. If we remove the final M, that is, before the Mem Sophi or M was added by the false Jews, then we would be left with, quote, Mem Yud, that creates the English's letters M-I juxtaposed together that pronounced the term me, M-E or M-E-E pronunciation, as in a city or a place that has a lot of surrounding water in its landmass. We repeat, this particular quote, me, in a quote, that is found in Micah chapter 5, verse 2, is referring to a place, a city that Yahweh ben Yahweh was prophesied to come in the last days. Come forth unto me. Now you may be asking, how is that? Well, because the word that was used by Micah Yahweh to create the present English's noun, as you know it, me, M-E, of Micah chapter 5, verse 2, was created from those very same two Hebrew characters that was conjoined together. Again, which are the two Hebrew characters known as Mem and Yud, to form the English's letters M-I, pronounced me. In other words, these two Hebraic characters that are positioned from right to left, Mem, Yud, is also a connection to Revelation chapter 6, verse 6, where, quote, one measure, end of quote, of his people were found shut up by Daniel in the second city of the south, among other cities of the south of the United States of America, where that place where Judah was, or where Judah would be found on this side of the river. Which brings us to the symbolical meaning of the same river or water. We repeat, the city where the Son, the Messiah, Yahweh ben Yahweh, was prophesied by Micah, the so-called Moristite, of chapter 5, verse 2, that would, quote, come unto one measure as a little among the thousands of his people Judah, end of quote, will be a city that bears the English letters, quote, M-I, conjoined together twice, end of quote. That symbolically signifies when Judah was in captivity in Mesopotamia. At the side, on that side of the river, on the bank, on that side of the river, the bank of the river, or water, in Mesopotamia over 3,000 years ago. And the same God who put Judah into captivity on this side of the river or water 459 years